Hi everyone, this is Bobby from bn-games.com and we're here doing another classic capture. Today I'm playing Ranger X for the Sega Genesis, which is a shmup, or shoot 'em up as they are known, genre, for both the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive. This game was greatly overlooked when it was first released in 1993 and is fairly cheap to buy practically anywhere, including eBay, even with eBay's inflation for retro stuff. One of my favorite parts of the game is all of the introductions to the levels, all the start stages have these really cool wireframe models, and they don't really serve any other purpose other than to show off. Yeah, that's practically it. Practically to show off, some cool ideas, but they don't really affect anything as far as gameplay is concerned. As far as gameplay is concerned, like I said, it's a shoot 'em up, and you go around in a bipedal robot. The premise of the story is you are trying to save the world from an invading force, just like every other shmup practically ever in all time. You'll notice I have like a motorcycle-looking thing at the bottom, and that serves as a weapons platform. It shoots along with my robot, which I control directly, and I can jump on top of it, which allows me to switch weapons. In fact, you have to use it to switch your special weapon, which is right next to the power meter. Otherwise, you can also ride it like a motorcycle. And you can merge with it. If you press down while holding it, in that pattern right there, it allows you to use a homing lock-on attack, which is very useful for the bosses. And let me tell you, as you can see here with the first boss, the bosses are the bread and butter of this game. They're the best parts of the game. They're really the reason to play it. Not to say that the levels are boring, some of them become kind of repetitive, but overall the bosses are really what you're playing this game for, because most of them are fairly interesting. A couple of them have some, like this one right here, this eye monster thing. It's actually a little more annoying than anything else to defeat. And you'll notice I have my little ship there. That replaces the motorcycle in some levels as a platform to change special weapons and that kind of thing. Special weapons are governed by power, power that can be recharged by finding any bright light source. All the levels have some sort of bright light source that you just stand in, and that will, recharge those power meters. That power meters directly affects using your special weapon, basically. And as you can see here, I'm just doing some platforming stuff here, trying to destroy these little batteries to continue on to the next part of the level. Controls, that's primarily where this game has an issue. Thematically looks great. Thematically it's great. It looks great. All the explosions and sounds are great. The music is probably one of the better parts, overall, but the controls are the real issue here. So essentially, you will be doing a lot of hovering, a lot of flying. That is controlled by pressing up and using the diagonals in an upward fashion to control, how high your unit goes, how fast, that kind of thing. Shooting is used with A and C. It's got a double dragon thing going for it, where C will shoot to the right, A will shoot to the left, and B will shoot your special weapon. This also will utilize this the 6-button controller, the Sega 6-button controller. That is used primarily for the motorcycle thing, and this platform. You can command it to go forward and backwards using the 6-button controller. Although, if you're just flying forward, usually the platform, either the flying one or the motorcycle one, will follow you. This game can be a bit of a challenge if you turn up the difficulty. Like I said, the sections where you're not fighting bosses tend to be the more challenging bits, I think, just for the simple fact that enemies they absorb a lot of damage, a little more than I like, but it's nothing you can't really handle. But the game only allows you 3 lives. Once the 3 lives are up, that's it. You're done. The 3 lives will once you lose your 3 lives, that's it. It's game over. It starts you back from the beginning. Thankfully, there is a code to allow you to move between the stages. Say if you died in one stage and you want to either continue that one or move to the next one. And that code is up, down, up, down, up, down, CBA, right, left, and then you press the B button, and then it'll skip you from whatever level you're on. It's a little cumbersome if you want to go through multiple levels, and there is one other caveat. If you use the level select or level skip feature, you do not gain the special weapons, the extra special weapons that you would get if you finish the level in its entirety. So it's a bit of a punishing thing. You won't get some of the better special weapons and be stuck with the flamethrower. But to some extent, I mean, some of those levels, as they become tedious after maybe a second or third playthrough, you're probably not going to want to go back and have to deal with that. You know, the level you can defeat this. This is the final boss, by the way, so that you know. You can defeat the final boss just by using the standard weapon set. So it's not impossible. Defeating all the other bosses are not. You're not handicapped if you have to use the level select, but you know there is that little bit of an issue. Other than that, it's a pretty good game. Definitely a lookers for the Sega Genesis, and you know, of that year. I mean, of that generation. And it is really cheap. You can pick it up for about $5 to $10, depending on case, and depending on eBay inflation. If you're buying it off of eBay, it's not particularly rare, but you know, it's cheap because a lot of people won't. I don't know. It's not as fondly thought of as maybe like Thunder Force 2 or something of that nature. So I would recommend it. I completely recommend it. It's definitely worth your time, and it's a good-looking game. It controls fairly well once you get used to the flight. Once you get used to hovering and using A and C to switch between firing from right to left. Once you get that down, it's not bad. It holds up well, and you know, for the price, it's worth it. So if you're a Sega Genesis collector and have a Sega Genesis, I fully recommend it. It's definitely a decent game, and for the price, you really can't beat it. It's a shmup for you know, under $20, and that in this day and age is becoming rarer and rarer. So this is a classic capture for Ranger X on the Sega Genesis. Definitely worth your money, and this is the end of the final boss and the ending. I'll leave you there to see the final ending, and yeah, so please subscribe and let us know what you think. Thank you.